using to do the work that you're doing.
So ego is very dangerous to me, and we should avoid the extremes.
This program exists to equip, challenge, and empower men to expand their family leadership capacity for national transformation. It was one afternoon when I was meeting pastors, spiritual leaders, religious leaders for an engagement, training them in the power of integrity in leadership. And that afternoon, we were supposed to get them into different groups to have a conversation. Now, this is what happened. One of their top leaders stood up and said, "Pastors, go into that corner. You are going to have your conversation that side." And then he said, "And the wives of pastors, for you, go into that other corner and have your conversation." And he finished. And then I put up my hand. I said, "Excuse me, sir, how about the husbands of pastors?" And the man said, okay. Oh, yes, let them also go out on the veranda. Let them meet on the veranda. And in my heart, I said, those are the ones I'm going to be with. So I moved out of the room. I left the pastors in one corner and the pastors' wives in another corner. And I moved outside and sat on the veranda with 8 men who were the husbands of female pastors. A group of people that is often forgotten in church circles. And I spent a whole hour plus with them and listened to their conversation and listened to their concerns. And that day I caught a vision that in my life, whenever I am able to, I will sit down with a husband of a pastor and talk man to man and encourage him and support him and share with him and equip him to be a great leader, not only in the community, but in his own family, where he is expected to be the family priest of an institutional priest. Welcome to the Inspired Family Leader Program with Samuel A. Bakutana, your host, a certified executive coach, an award-winning leadership consultant, a global speaker, professional facilitator, and author. CEO of Inspired Leaders International, which is an international leadership development firm that empowers leaders to transform nations, and your Provincial Fathers Union President. Today, this morning, this afternoon, this evening, depending on where you are watching us from around the world, we want to talk about what it means to be the husband of a female pastor. And with me in studio to unravel the intricacies of this important topic is the man you see here, a fellow husband, a fellow father, but I won't have the opportunity to say a fellow husband of a female pastor. My wife is not a pastor. My brother Patrick Kabenge, the chairman of the Fathers Union, St. Andrew's Church, Bukoto. Very welcome, my brother.
Thank you so much, Mr. President.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
No, wait. Don't hurry to answer. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so how was it on the second time I get a different answer from many people?
Wow. Okay.
Very welcome on this program.
Thank you so much. Thank you for hosting us.
My pleasure. Go right ahead and look into that camera and introduce yourself. Let the people who are watching get to know who is here in studio with us.
Thank you so much. My name is Kabenge Patrick. As Sam has said, I'm a leader at St. Andrew's Church, Bukoto, where I am the team leader with the Fathers Union. I head the Fathers Union ministry. I'm an accountant. That is my 8 to 5 job.
An
accountant. But I serve the Lord. I've served the Lord for quite some good time, especially into the ministry of youth and fathers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Youth and fathers.
Yes.
What's your motivation for being among the youth and fathers mostly?
Basically mentorship. As you had the burden of reaching out to fathers, I also had the burden of making an impact in the lives of fathers
Yes.
and in the lives of the youth. Because you see, this generation, many times such people are neglected. Youths are neglected, and families are breaking because of things that can be fixed through mentorship, through working together, through supporting one another. So my passion is there. My ministry is basically there. Yes.
Issues that can be fixed.
Yes.
You know, challenges that could be overcome.
Yes.
But mostly they are ignored, and so they become a huge issue.
That's true.
Now,
That's true.
you are a husband to a female pastor.
True.
Congratulations.
Thank
I
you
have
so
another friend who is a husband to a female pastor. Definitely you know him. I won't mention the name.
Yes.
But he often calls himself PhD.
Yes.
Meaning
Pastor's
husband daily. PhD, pastor's husband daily. He
That's
says,
true.
I'm so and so PhD. And you think he means he has a
scholar. Yeah.
And then he says, pastor's husband daily. So some time ago I was asking him, how did you manage to convince this lady in a collar? You know, sometimes when we look at people in a collar, we look at them in a certain way, you know, and even when it comes to like matters of love or matters of playing games and recreation, many times people don't look at them through the lenses of that kind of life. So tell me, what made you decide to marry a woman who was already a pastor?
Okay. An interesting question. Well, that question has always been asked several times.
Yes.
And the answer to that is she a man?
She's not.
She's not a man. She's a woman.
Yes.
She's first a woman and then a minister of the word,
Okay.
or a priest or a clergy.
Yes.
And the other aspects of life also apply to them. They're human, they have feelings, but they have ministry.
Yes.
It's all about knowing how you can come in. So to me, I don't see it as something so strange.
Yes.
You know, you see the smile you put on when you're asking that question. That, you know, the imaginations it comes
Yes,
with.
of
But
course.
at the end of the day, she's a lady. She's a minister of the word.
Yes.
But she's a lady as well. She's a mother.
Of course.
When I was looking at her, I was seeing a potential of a mother to
So
my
you were
children.
not really looking at a pastor. You were simply looking at this beautiful, lovely babe that you liked, and you felt this could be my wife.
Well, that may not be true per se,
okay.
because she pastored me.
Okay.
And beyond the ministry, you know, as you do ministry, you're able to see someone. One that beyond the physical, as I've told you, I've been supporting ministry. I've supported several clergies, both men and women.
Yes.
So, you know, as you're supporting them, you be in their circles, you do the same ministry, you get to, you know, discover. I discovered something very unique in her, and it really attracted me.
What was that? Just curious.
The passion she has for ministry.
Yes.
The passion she has for mankind. You know, there's someone you do ministry with and you're looking forward to do the same ministry with that person the following day, following day. And there are people we do ministry with and you say, when is this ministry ending? And you really want to go back. But this is the person we walked together, and then I was able to get attracted to her. And I was reminded that maybe it is in God's plan that all of us, we shall do ministry together.
Yes.
So behold, we are here doing ministry together.
Yeah, you are.
Which started as an impossible thing. The Lord made it possible. The only difference is she was already ordained.
Yes.
Yeah, she was already ordained. And then the other unique thing was that we are serving in the same area.
Okay.
Which gave me an opportunity to really understand who is this person.
When you say same area, do you mean geographical area? Do you
Same
mean
church ministry.
Okay.
Same church ministry. Not that the fancy was I want to marry clergy. I never dreamt it. It has never been in my plans. I just saw everything leading to this particular person.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
Like they say, the rest is future. I don't say the rest is history.
The rest is future. That's very true.
The rest is future.
Now we are here. We are living in the future.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I want to believe that most likely you had to make some adjustments here and there.
True.
That could maybe be a little bit different from the general adjustments we make when we marry. And you say, now I am moving from singlehood to the married life. But now for you, it's not only to the married life, but being married to somebody who is into full time. I usually avoid that kind of phrase because all of us we are. But you know what I mean, in full-time church ministry.
That's true.
Are there some of the specific adjustments you had to make in order to ensure that your relationship with her is smooth as she serves in that church ministry? Or it was the normal adjustments that just anybody else makes from singlehood, for example, to married life?
I want to be very honest with you.
Please.
That there were quite a number of adjustments that had to be made.
Yes.
For starters, is even the way we related, even the way we dated was not the normal way.
It wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't. Okay, normal way is maybe a wrong statement, but you know, there were boundaries that had to be respected. There were considerations that had to be made. I don't remember. I think we even went once out for a date.
Is that so?
Yes, we went once.
Only once?
Only once. Only once.
That's unique.
And that was after when we were sure about everything we are pursuing. So the first adjustment was that the maturity it puts you in, that the person I'm dating is not the usual person. Then you watch your boundaries, you respect the ministry, you carefully support the ministry.
Yes.
So that was one of the first huge adjustment, that you communicate when you're sure. You know, usually I tell the people I mentor, especially the boys I do ministry with, that it's okay to date within the fellowship, but be sure.
Be sure of what you're doing.
Be sure of what you're doing.
Isn't that the reason why a number of them end up delaying? Because they say, but am I sure? Am I not sure? So they end up not taking a step, reaching out to the person they already have this connection with, and they could form a good journey together of the future. But because their mentor, Patrick, is telling them, wait, first be, sometimes they can even add the word 100, first be 100% sure that this is the person. And now there are so many boys, they are of marriage age, they are quote unquote stuck in our churches, in our communities, in our families. They are now in their 30s, they are getting to their 40s because they are not yet sure. So because they are not yet sure, they don't take a step.
My brother, when I talk about being sure, it has nothing to do with the duration. It has to do with you. The decision you want to take with this person. Are you sure you want to commit to this person? Are you sure it's the person you want to sacrifice? You know, you rather delay and save the ministry than rushing and you go with the ministry.
That's a quotable quote.
And then also, I prefer a breakup than a divorce.
Oh yes.
You rather break up in a relationship if the person, you're not so sure about the person, rather than disturbing us. We prepare a wedding,
we bring money and
then
and
1 month divorce.
Yes.
So I really tell my colleagues and my mentees and my friends, be sure before you rush. So that was one adjustment. I had to be sure.
Yeah.
Then the other adjustment was to do with the timing, managing my time. You know, as I said, I'm an accountant.
Yes.
I live a corporate life. I'm dating someone, or I'm getting married to someone who is full-time in ministry. That calls for an adjustment. Mind you, when I'm leaving home, you are expecting to get a cup of tea. And she's just telling me I'm starting midweek service.
That's when the services in churches are starting at 5:30.
Thank you so
when
much.
you are coming back home.
Thank you. Where you are expecting to be welcomed and received, we have to first do some ministry. So those adjustments had to come into place, given the nature of the person, the calling, and the ministry. And I have to respect them, and I have to respect them. And their ministry is so unique. As you're planning to go home, that's when a Christian gets convicted. Musumba, I want to talk to you. No, Musumba, I want to talk to you briefly. So that also comes into play, and it becomes a serious adjustment.
Serious adjustment.
The other adjustment, which might be not so much, but the public scrutiny.
Public scrutiny.
Yeah.
This is the husband of our pastor.
Exactly. You know, when you are at a function, you can have peace until you're told to stand up.
Yes.
So after standing up, even the person who forgot to greet you wants to greet you. The person who stepped on you, that's when they remember to apologize. So like
that's because now they have known you are the husband of the pastor.
So that also calls for some adjustment in lifestyle, in places you visit, areas you want to associate with. Why? Because you don't know how public perceives it. Sometimes it may win a soul, and sometimes it can destroy a soul. So when you take up such a responsibility, that adjustment automatically comes into place. And others. But me, one thing I've appreciated is that whatever adjustment I have to make, I ask myself, how does it safeguard me?
Safeguard you?
Yes, as an individual. How does it minister to others? And then 2, how does it impact her ministry? Because the challenge I have is she had that calling on her own.
Before she met you?
Before she met me. And I come into picture when the call is there, the ministry is there.
She has already started. She's in full-time church ministry.
Thank you. So I have a responsibility to see that ministry goes on. So for you, what you call as challenges or adjustments, to me I see them as, opportunity to support a ministry.
Exactly.
Because if I don't adjust, then I'm killing someone's ministry. If I do not comply, then I'm affecting someone's what? Someone's ministry. Yes, we all join the call. We are all in this ministry serving, but still those adjustments are very necessary.
Yeah. Wonderful. Unless those adjustments are made, many things won't be possible.
True.
In the relationship itself will be strained. For the most part.
That's true.
What has been the most rewarding part of this journey so far? As the husband of a female pastor, what has been the most rewarding part of this journey this far?
I think seeing her grow in her call, the growth in her ministry, to me it brings satisfaction. Why? Because when you lay here, you're seeing a clergy doing ministry. At times you have the temptation of supporting, do this, can you improve here? I don't struggle. I just observe and say, let's wait home. Let's wait home. So when you see making an impact in someone's life, it brings satisfaction. As she's pastoring many, I have a role of pastoring her. So that opportunity also, I don't take it for granted. To me, it also brings satisfaction.
Knowing that the pastor.
Yes, knowing that, okay, let her pastor the multitude. Me, I'll focus on pastoring her. It is one.
And in a way, you are now pastoring the multitude.
Exactly.
By pastoring the one who pastors them.
Exactly. So it brings satisfaction, it rewards. To me, I think it is a good achievement. And then also, it has also helped me grow in my faith. As I've said, I have been serving, but I think you've never seen me on a pulpit anywhere. Have you ever seen me?
I don't remember seeing
But I've served for years. I'm a background minister.
Interesting. Like recently I've been telling many people that I am so much involved in what I call the compound ministry. Every time we go to church on a Sunday and the service is over, usually attend the second service that goes from 9 to 11. Then after that, I am in the compound. I am in the compound for 2 hours. What am I doing in the compound for 2 hours? I am meeting this young man, talks with me, gives some piece of advice. Then another young lady comes and says, Papa, there is something I wanted to ask you. Ask me. We talk for 5 minutes. Then a gentleman, a Father's Union member comes. I spend like 2 hours in the compound doing the ministry. And it's the ministry I'm doing much more these days at church. So when you say background ministry, I understand. And
some that ministry has a huge impact.
It does.
Because it facilitates follow-up. Clergy may be on the pulpit there, they preach to a multitude, and then they'll go with their notebooks, they'll take notebook, but there's no assurance that they'll follow up. But that background ministry, where you have a one-on-one interaction, it does a huge impact.
It's impactful.
So my partnership with her in terms of ministry has helped me grow. That when someone comes to you, they think they're speaking to a priest. They think they're speaking to a clergy. What does that mean? I have to be equipped as well.
Yes.
I have to try to keep myself in check.
You can't give what you don't have.
Exactly. So that to me has also been a plus. That if this wasn't the ministry I'm in, the marriage I'm in, maybe my level of commitment also could be down. But now, you see, even at the function, if there is no clergy around, say, okay, the husband of the clergy,
pastor
can
come.
you pray? Can you give us a devotion? So it keeps you in check. To me, I see it as a plus.
Isn't that also a challenge, especially to husbands of female pastors who may not exactly be that deep in matters of spirituality? They may not really know the Bible per se. They simply loved this lovely babe who happened to be a pastor, or who became a pastor during when they were already married. Maybe this gentleman is even not yet born again, but anyway, he's just in church. Doesn't that become a challenge for him?
Definitely, it's a serious challenge, because all marriages are marriages, but this marriage is special. It is having two: the normal marriage part and the ministry.
Yes.
Because what touches the marriage touches the ministry.
Oh yes.
So, for example, she will expect a particular support. For example, times she can come back from an overnight drained as a woman. Yeah, she wants to be enriched too. She wants you to, pray for her, support her, guide her. Now, if you are dry, how will she be able to move on?
No, if you are also tired, you were also at the work. See, the accountant was busy. Had what are these things called?
Balance
the auditing and
exactly.
All that kind of stuff.
That takes us back to what I said, adjustments.
Yes.
It's, however much I'm an accountant, at the back of my mind, I saw there is this ministry. So I'm saying it is marriage and ministry all together. If you are married to a clergy, a female clergy, you must be able to balance and know that marriage is there, but there is also ministry.
Yes.
And I like the way we do it in Anglican Church. I missed it, that if they are going to ordain you as a clergy, you go with your spouse.
Yes.
You take some
for
of
the
the vows.
ordination retreat.
Exactly. What does that mean? That you are in this ministry together.
Yes.
I almost broke up with her. And when you ask that question,
if I was somebody, I would have right now said, the devil is a liar.
No, that was before. I almost broke up. I almost called it off. But when you ask that question, I appreciate the step she took. That lady took a year without telling me yes or no.
My.
A week, a month, 6 months, 10 months, 12 months. No response. And no signs that actually they're interested. But when you ask the question of how about those who end up marrying people who are far away from ministry, I think she was trying to safeguard that. She did her background, she did her research, and she was sure.
Doing a due diligence on you.
Exactly. That's why I would appeal to the many single female clergies to be keen at the person.
Don't just welcome any man to take you.
My friend, this is real ministry. This is real ministry.
Yeah.
It's not just marriage, because there is a call.
There is a call.
There is the relationship.
Yes.
There is the marriage. Trust me, if there is any imbalance anywhere,
it will affect
anywhere.
Yes.
So if you're not so sure that this person will really support you, there's that thinking of marry and convert. This part is unique.
Is it call it PCM, the PCM combination, preach, convert and marry?
No.
As if you were assistant Holy Ghost.
It doesn't apply here. It doesn't apply here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we've really heard your story and your experience and how far things are going and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I would like you now to take a few steps away from your own home, away from your own marriage, though maybe some could come from your own experience still, but let's now broaden it to your other friends, your brothers in the ministry who are like you, they are husbands of female pastors. When you look at many of them, generally speaking, which unique challenges do most of them often encounter just because they are husbands of female pastors?
Thank you.
Because I think that will position us better, to be more supportive, us who are in the community, us who worship with them, us who see them from a distance, that will position us in being in fellowship better.
Thank you so much, my brother. You talked about your friend who calls himself a PhD.
PhD, yes.
I happen to be the coordinator of the PhDs in Kampala.
Oh,
Diocese.
yes.
And one of the would-be challenges we face generally is the failure to draw boundaries. Boundaries between, yes, we've been talking about these are the same, marriage, ministry, but at times if you fail to draw boundaries between the marriage expectation and the ministry expectation, it becomes a real challenge. Some Christians like you, some Christians like you forget that these are wives at home.
Yeah.
And
we just only see the pastor, not somebody's
and
wife.
They forget that there is a wife. So some of my colleagues, when we talk, that really comes up a lot. Because there is one who was telling me that I practically go and I ensure I bring my wife from church and home. Otherwise, she may not come back. So that can also be a challenge.
Yeah.
That if your partner has failed to know this time is supposed to be home. Some Christians like you would want to have a counseling session late in the night.
Oh my God.
The baby can cry and say, Musumba, sorry, the baby is crying. But what I was saying, so those boundaries at times also affect the marriage.
Failure to draw those boundaries.
Especially when the husband is not understanding the call very well. It can drain.
Yes.
It can drain so much. Then the other one, besides now that is knowing boundaries, and then also it also comes into communications. Also communication can become a challenge. You know how that ministry can have unplanned activities. The church, your church program, this runs into this activity. Some forget. Even some forget picking the child.
Oh dear.
Why?
Because something came up, a demon started screaming in a certain corner, and they quickly called Patrick's wife, who happens to be a pastor, to go and help out in soothing. But that was a time when she was supposed to go and maybe pick a child from school and ends up forgetting, or even if that's not the case, letting you know that she has gotten a quick program to go somewhere else.
Maybe the other challenge would be the limits. At times we forget the limits. I'm the head of the home, and there's a mentality of thinking that I'm also the head of the church.
Just because you're the husband of the pastor.
Exactly. That has also brought conflict. I remember sometime we also guided to tone down on our involvement in church leadership. For example, if your wife is on top of the leadership, try to tone down. Why? At times we forget. You think you are the head at home, even in this ministry you're the head. But at least that is not so common here in our diocese. But generally, we've had cases where that has been a challenge, and it can kill the ministry. It can kill the ministry because one can quote the husband, thinking it's the opinion of the
your
clergy.
husband say
exactly
pinning the female pastor.
Exactly. It actually, the lady is very, very honest.
Exactly. And the husband was simply giving his own personal opinion, not connected to the church policy.
At times I happen to talk into conferences and seminars. When I'm talking, at times I can talk and want to refer to my wife. There is a way everyone becomes serious, even those that were dozing. They wake up. Why do you think they wake up?
Could it be that they are trying to figure out some critical information that can give them some sort of a glimpse of what the church leadership thinks about this issue? Just because you are talking about your wife who happens to be their pastor.
Thank you so much. So that can also kill or become a challenge.
A challenge, yes.
So if you fail to manage that, what to say,
and maybe that also makes you walk on eggshells a bit in your own communication.
That's very true. But no one forces you in this ministry. You freely do what? You freely join. So, but it doesn't remove the fact that that can kill the ministry or poses a challenge in the way one serves. Yeah.
Wow. Unique issues. Failure to draw boundaries between the marriage expectations and the ministry expectations. Then communication challenges due to unplanned programs that come up again and again. But also the issue of limits. Knowing that whereas you are the head of the family, you are not the head of the church. Now, man.
Actually, there's also the aspect of societal expectations. You know, there is the way society expects a pastor's wife to behave. That can also become a challenge.
Yes.
Why are you dressed like that? My dressing is okay. My wife was okay with it. But a Christian said, you shouldn't dress like that. But actually, I was dressing like this before I got married to this clergy.
Yeah.
You mean I was inappropriately dressed? So that can also pose another challenges.
Okay.
Expectation. The interventions, when something comes up, there is a way they would want you to respond or not respond. Naturally, that can also become a hindrance.
Indeed.
Or a challenge.
A challenge. Wow. I will come back to that bit a little bit later because I think we need to share a little bit more about that aspect of the societal expectation. But before we get to it, these challenges you have enumerated, what would you advise your fellow husbands to female pastors who are right now encountering those kinds of challenges you've talked about? What's your advice to them on how they can cope, on how they can thrive through, on how they can still remain strong, happy, and awesome in their life as they are facing these unique challenges in the ministry?
Well, openly communicating with one another.
One another, you mean with the
you
wife?
You and your spouse.
Okay.
It's important that you have an open flow of communication. If something comes up, for example, me and my wife, we agreed that if anything comes up, just drop in my inbox.
Oh.
Just drop it. If there is a diversion, I'm going here, this has come up, just drop in. If I'm looking for you and I can't find you, I just put on data and I'll get. So, you know, that also solves quite a number of things. So, openly communicate the engagements and then also be clear with, you know, I'll do this, I'll not do this. You know, that needs to be very, very clear. And then also set clear boundaries and let them be known such that you're not misunderstood.
What kind of boundaries and known to who?
For example, we talked about a challenge of failure to separate home and ministry at church.
Because home is also a ministry of sorts.
Let it be very clear that I will not be able to participate in this activity, but I wish you well in it. You get what I'm saying? I'm avoiding to conflict with the ministry, but I have released you to do the ministry.
Okay. Could that be the reason why I know one husband of a female pastor who prays from a different church while the female pastor is pastoring in another church?
Do I know that friend of yours?
Whether you know, you don't. Could that be the reason, like he is releasing the other pastor, the wife, to serve the other side and avoid maybe some possible conflicts in the ministry or something?
Also possible.
Could be.
It could be.
Yes.
And it could also help to save quite a number of things. Because you know when you come home, let me assume there was a conflict at church and you were involved in the conflict and she's involved in the conflict. What happens at home? No one can give the other a crying shoulder. But if the conflict is there, I also had my conflict at my workplace. When we come back home, everyone is getting support from the other.
But doesn't that create a situation where there is a possibility of this female pastor saying, if you had been there today at church, you would have helped or something, you would have supported, but you see you are not available.
You know, do you know a car and an engine of a car? How many times do you see the engine of a car?
Rarely.
Rarely. But can
Until
a car
you
function?
just try to open and see
But
it
can a
yourself.
car function without an engine?
It can't.
You know, if you're a husband and you are in your position, in the rightful position, she cannot make that statement. It is important for her to be sure that I'm going home to find someone. And also you as the husband, are you in your position? You know, this ministry also qualifies to be, you know, the fivefold ministry.
Yes. Apostle, prophet, evangelist, pastor, and teacher.
We
The
need
fivefold ministry.
we need a sixth fold. The clergy.
The clergy.
clergy's husband. Because that
The
also
clergy's
affects how these five folds
Work.
execute their work. So if this
that's
person,
big.
any of these affected fold, maybe a teacher, an apostle,
Yes.
a priest, or what,
Yes.
is drained at a workplace, now the church, how they are received at home, how they are handled at home, impacts how they will minister the following day.
That's true.
Or the following incident. So I
So
think that friend
setting
of yours,
clear known boundaries.
I think your friend of yours, that friend of yours, try to see that. I think this works. I'm in a similar state, but that wasn't my reason.
Okay.
I got married. I married when I'm fully committed in this one church with huge
Yes.
responsibilities.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And then she gets transferred and
To another-
transferred and transferred.
Yes.
So because of that, we are in different churches.
I hear you. I will really keep bringing out the real life examples that I know. I know another brother who is a husband to a female pastor.
Yes.
And they went to a church to pastor the flock. And when they were there, after a few years, she was transferred to another church, because in the Anglican setting of pastoral work, you can be sent to different parishes,
Rotated.
whereas it could be different, like in the Pentecostal
Yes,
church or in
yes,
the Baptist church. But in the Anglican church, a pastor can be taken to different
That's true.
churches. So when she was transferred, the husband said, I am tired of moving. I am not leaving. So he went to their family home that was not far away from that very parish, stayed there with the children, and the wife had to go now to the other new place of deployment. Was that an act of setting a boundary by this husband?
That friend of yours didn't understand the call. And he didn't understand the ministry the wife was called into. I've given a clear example to me that it was circumstantial.
Yeah.
But we go to the same church where she ministers once in a while. I am there.
Okay.
Actually, I drop her myself. I pick her myself. If there are no colliding services,
Yes.
I worship from the other side. And the spirit is not that I'm against the deployment.
Of course.
The spirit of doing this is you found me with this responsibility
Yeah.
of ministry, and this is my calling,
Yes. Yes.
and I'm serving. But I'm supporting her. But also, there is also the other aspect of someone doing it out of rebellion, trying to prove to the appointing authorities that I am in charge. No. We are all aware.
Reminding
of
the
call.
appointing authority that I am actually the husband of that pastor you
That's
have.
what I talked about. The head at home
Yes, is
may
not the head
not
of
mean
the
the
church.
head of the church.
And I think that also puts some female pastors in a very challenging position.
Yes.
I remember one time I was leading a clergy retreat for 3 days somewhere in one of these dioceses. And after we had talked about the clergy and the family of the clergy, we were talking about family matters. This lady, the female pastor, puts up the hand and asks me a question. She said, Mr. Bakutana, my husband is my head, is my priest, is my leader. I am his helper. My bishop is my leader. I even saw something called canonical obedience.
Yes.
The oath of canonical obedience. I would like you, Mr. Bakutana, to tell me, if I leave church on Sunday at about 2 p.m. after everything is done, I go home, and as soon as I reach home to now be with my husband, my bishop calls me and says, hey, Reverend, please first come back. There is a ministry engagement that has just come up, come and be part. And then my husband says, no, you've just arrived home, you are going nowhere. The lady asked me and said, who should I listen to? That was a challenging question. And I want to tell you, I decided not to answer it. I said, our leaders can help in answering this question. You see the challenge that sometimes they also find themselves in?
I don't find it as a unique challenge. Sam, it comes back to understanding this person's ministry. I have been in ministry way before I met this lady. I know the pattern of how clergy life is. I've been a leader on the side of the laity.
But you see, there is one thing of how the clergy life is.
Yes.
And the other thing is how the clergy life should be.
The incident you're quoting has ever happened to me.
Yes.
And ask me, how did you handle it?
How did you handle it?
Let's go together, do ministry.
They just called the reverend, not the
Will
the
she
husband,
drive
the
herself?
pastor.
Will she drive herself?
Probably.
You know, with this ministry, you know, when we say we are support of these people, yeah? You may not preach,
Yes.
yeah? You may not lead,
You won't give Holy Communion.
but you may not give Holy Communion.
Yes.
But there is a way you can do ministry in this person.
The
You
engine
see,
of the
after
car.
that call, you can sense the facial reaction of that wife. She wasn't happy.
She definitely wasn't.
And she wasn't happy with the call of ministry. Then what is your role as the husband? To offer solutions, to offer alternatives. Not to,
I may be misunderstanding you right now, and I want to verbalize my thought.
No.
What I am understanding is that once you are in this position, you
you
simply
say-
have to forego your own needs as a husband,
no,
right?
no, not at all. Did you say bishop?
Yes.
Did you say
Yes.
bishop
Yes.
called?
Yes.
You think bishop can call anyone for ministry? Anyone?
Maybe he can call the one who is always available.
Always available. You know, if you are available and you don't have quality, will you be called? By the
Say
time,
yes and no,
yes
depending
and
on
no.
the situation.
So if there is an emergency ministry and the bishop has called you and he has said it is an emergency ministry,
Yeah.
that is when me as a man I say, okay, we said for better, for what?
For us.
For worse. What did I want her to do?
Yes.
I see. Do you want to do this ministry or you don't want to do this ministry? Even before asking that question, you as the husband, you can tell. Yeah? So to me, I've taken advantage of such incidents.
Yeah.
I think what has kept me supporting her, I don't look at the other side.
Yeah.
When everyone is saying, why is he calling us? Okay, let's go. Be there with her. Drive her there. Pray with her. Support her. You know, when Bishop sees that you have come with her, even the time of releasing her becomes what? Less.
Okay.
Because they know there's someone. You
And
see,
suppose you had a program, that afternoon family program, you were supposed to go and check on mommy at home, and so she was rushing home so that you can set off. Then she's called by the episcopal official.
yes, you're complicating the scenario.
Yes, because these things happen.
But at the end of the day, I will support her to Gando ministry.
Okay.
And then she will come back.
All right.
And we shall do this marriage for the rest of our lives.
God
And
being
then-
your
and then
helper.
also, Some the uniqueness about the ministry, there are some ministries that can't be postponed.
That's true.
And when you quote the level of the archbishop or bishop, usually those are referral cases, you know, and they are rare incidents. They can't be calling you every day. So once in a while, as a man, you accepted. For example, also me, actually you're putting it at the extreme, but also me, at times tables change. And you may find in my home I am the problem to be discussed actually. Why? I'm an accountant. We have reporting deadlines.
Yes,
I do some consultancy work. You have deadlines. And then you're telling her, I'm away.
Yeah.
I am going.
Yeah.
And then she also has to stand back. That's when she remembers you released her for the other ministry.
You stood with her.
Let me also support you in this ministry. So I think it comes back to understanding the person you married, how you do your things, and the call.
Okay. Amazing. Very helpful, I can assure you.
Thank you.
Let's now go to the side of those female pastors.
Yes.
In your view, what do those female pastors need to pay attention to themselves so that specifically church work does not drown their marriages? What should they pay attention to?
At times they need just to have the principles of work-life balance. Some of them are too sold into ministry that they don't even have time to attend to their medication. Medication, I want to take it to the extreme.
Okay.
Someone is sick, but still they want to go for that healing and deliverance service. They want to go to do that pastoral visit, but they have to first go and check their health. So it's important for them to learn to balance work and their life.
Yes.
Some of them, at times, they go into ministry. They mentor others. They give them time. But the little ones at home,
their own children.
Their own children.
Yes.
They are not
attending to.
You know, when you're at church, everyone comes around you.
Yeah, you become the mom of the whole church.
Become the mom of the home. When she comes back home, she's also very busy.
Yes.
You see this child left out. I think that's why you see, usually they say, pastors' children have, some
character challenges that sometimes are beyond.
Usually it is failure to balance the time for work, the time for life, and the time for family. I think
the Pastor Eli syndrome.
Yes,
Ella in the Bible, who was the priest at Shiloh, who forgot, who did everything awesome at the synagogue, but then failed to do amazing work
at home
in the life of his sons, Hophni and Phinehas.
Yeah, that one. Also, the other one, the other thing they also need to pay attention to, the clarity in roles.
Clarity in roles.
Yes, the
in
clarity
terms of
roles in terms of the expectation of roles in the husband. The roles of husband as the head of the family.
Yes.
And then the role of a husband as a support
of the pastor.
Of the pastor's ministry.
Yes.
Those roles need to come out very, very clear. The expectation in me as a man, the expectation as a support. So when that gets addressed, ministry becomes much, much easier.
Yeah.
There is one who forgot that, this was an issue that came up and someone was trying to share with us how, when I talked about a role of a husband and then the role of the wife in the church, one can expect that since I'm the husband, I will dominate the preaching schedule.
Oh.
You get yeah, there is one who reported such an incident, such a challenge. So it's important that they are able to, there are weaker vessels, and them being the weaker vessels also need to be, if not supported clearly, to streamline their expectation. Some people can take advantage of them. Some people can take advantage.
That reminds me of something in line with what we are talking about, what they need to pay attention to so that church work doesn't drown their marriages. There are about 3 female pastors I know, and I've known them for quite some time. But I can't put a finger on their husband and say, that's her husband. I don't know their husbands, yet they have been in the ministry for quite some time. They are all around us. They are doing a lot of work. They are so well known. So I don't know, is that part of putting a boundary, or there is something they are not doing as wives to find that their spouses are not known in the ministry, but for them they are very famous and well known. Because really, if I am doing the work I do like now, provincial president, Fathers Union, but nobody knows my wife.
Everyone knows the watermelon.
I want to believe there would be a challenge. So I don't know whether it's their way of putting a boundary or they need to think about how they can also, I don't know whether to say promote or present or bring along their husbands in the ministry. I went to a public function where I saw a husband of a female pastor really not knowing where to go. And what happened was that this was a big conference in the city of Kampala here. They welcomed the wives of pastors, because for them they were even in a uniform, they have their uniform, the wives of pastors. The husbands of female pastors don't have like an identifying kind of attire also. So they welcomed the wives of pastors and took them to a certain tent of priority and sat them there. And this guy kept on standing, looking around. He was just lost in the place and nobody was paying attention to him. And the wife, who is a female pastor, had already moved ahead quickly and sat in the tent for pastors. So I felt like, no, she could have held the hand of her husband and they go together to that tent. So that's the condition I'm talking about.
Well, that's true. I've also witnessed it. You know, but there are certain things we have to appreciate that they may take time.
No, of course.
The issue of clergy wife, Muchala Musumba. It has been around
of course.
For so many years.
Musumba is not
and it has sunk in people's mind. So that adjustment also is a struggle. You may discover that the three clergies you're quoting, actually the husbands are around and you are interacting with them.
Yes.
But because they are not either recognized or talked about,
yes,
but they are around.
They are around.
Others get commitment. There are those that work.
Yeah.
You know, I had a conversation with someone about, actually I think I had a conversation with you offset about church activities happening during working hours.
Yeah, exactly.
You appreciate the fact that most of the clergy husbands work. I can mention to you one by name. You tell me the name and I tell you this one works here. Tell me the name. So that also takes our time. Yeah, it takes our time.
Yes.
And you may discover that most of that affects them not to fully participate in the church activities. But I think we are coming up. We are getting organized. We now have a fellowship, a forum. I think that will enable us to be visible and also participate in the ministry. You know, naturally women respond quickly. When someone has died, women can easily mobilize them,
come together,
and it is easy for them to say, let us put on a purple gomasi. It can be easy. But a man, usually we struggle coming together and being uniform. But as long as you quoted and you say that these three ladies are actively serving, are doing well, it is just an assurance that the engine you're not seeing behind
the car well.
It is moving.
Awesome. We need to wrap this up right now. And I would like to just ask you one more thing because of what you've just said, and that will make it to the end of this program.
Yes.
You've just talked about something like maybe those men are not yet recognized in their circles.
Yes.
So that made me to think now from the personal aspect and from the family aspect of the pastor to the institutional aspect. This is what I would like us to end with. In your view, how can the church institution, the church system, meaningfully support the husbands of female pastors going forward?
Thank you so much. I think the church has already given us a platform. We haven't just grabbed it. In the recent meetings we've had, the church has been intentional for us to meet regularly as fathers, as husbands to clergy, to meet and fellowship. I think the platform has been there.
Yes.
Maybe what the church can do is really to boost it more, to give it more publicity, and then also to be intentional with us. You know, there's one thing saying meet, but you're not intentional. They could come and walk this journey with us. Some of us, as you've heard, society thinks we know it all, but actually we don't. Some of us, we need mentorship to be able to support the clergy, to bring out the best out of her. And then also having a clear reporting line, maybe that can also help. But I think within the church structures, we are really catered for. Just that we have been not enough.
Yes.
You know, it's of recent that I'm seeing quite a number of female clergies coming up.
Yes.
Previously, there were very few. Who are married. Previously, there were very few. And then previously, most of them that were coming, they were old age, you know. But now you see young, beautiful female clergies coming up.
You had to add the word beautiful. It's okay.
So basically, that will help us to be able to be visible, to support them, and also to do ministry.
Okay.
Yes.
In the church you serve in, the Anglican Church, Church of Uganda, there is a ministry organ called Fathers Union.
Yes, true.
Which you happen to be a chairman of in your parish as the parish chairman.
Yes.
As your parting shot, how should the Fathers Union meaningfully support the husbands of female pastors as fellow men?
Wow, such an interesting question. Well, Fathers Union should, one, interest these men to work with them in their fellowship. There is a tendency of leaving them out. These two should move together. I appeal to any church, if you are in a church in Anglican and there is a female clergy and you are a Fathers Union leader, make sure that that husband, that man, is part of the...
Reach out to
him, move with him, and grow with him. And then also when it comes to splitting ministry, supporting ministry, in counseling and things like that, mentorship, I think the Fathers Union ministry comes in handy to support this man. I wouldn't say this struggling man, but this man in ministry.
Yes, this fellow man.
You know, one thing I've appreciated about Fathers Union, you know, the fellowships I've visited, there is vast knowledge of all age. You just need to tap, you just need to be available, you just need to ask. So they should belong. And when they belong, they should purposely serve.
Awesome. When they belong, they become.
True.
They become part of the fellowship, they become part of the ministry, and they grow together as men. It's been a pleasure having you today, Patrick, and I've been looking forward to this opportunity, as you know, for us to come and have this kind of, I will say, a unique conversation that we've not had before on this platform, on this program. And you heard at the beginning the genesis of this. My concern, where it came from that one afternoon when I saw what happened, and I said, this is a category of people that I think we are not giving attention enough. And that was quite a number of years ago, many years ago, probably a decade ago or so. And somehow I caught a vision, can call it a vision. And I'm glad that we have had this conversation, and thank you for leading the team of husbands of pastors, especially in Kampala, in the Diocese of Kampala. We wish you well as you serve, and you are our fellow men, and we would like to keep walking with you, serving with you, and being a blessing to each other. May you continue to be a blessing to your spouses, to your wives, as they pastor God's people that He has entrusted them with. What a joy it's been having you tuned in as we've been talking about being a husband to a female pastor. If you are a husband to a female pastor, you've had this conversation, you already know the unique challenges that you could be going through because of that, but you also know the unique blessings that you already have, the unique rewards that you already have, the unique opportunities that you have because of being a husband to a female pastor. So whichever side, thank God for it and do the best you can to lead well at home as the head of the family and also support meaningfully at the church, because we are the church, but you know what I'm talking about, the church institution. And also, if you are the female pastor we've been referring to, God has called you to shepherd his people. Do the best you can. Keep reading Ezekiel chapter 34 to understand the calling upon your office. At the same time, remember you are somebody's wife. And God created you not as the head of the family, but as the helper to the head of the family. Make sure that as you are shepherding and pastoring the flock at the church, you are not failing in your role as a wife. Why? Because success at work is not a substitute for failure at home. Do the best that you can, and we also wish you well. Until next time, this has been the Inspired Family Leader program with Samuel A. Bakutana, your host. Live exemplarily, love authentically, and lead relationally.
Just one wife. That you need the leadership skills of a general.
Yes.
To lead an army of one woman.
So we have to take a lot of pain, a lot of effort to teach children how to get along with one another.
Your raw material is money,
Of course.
but it is not your money.
It is not
That
yours.
is the biggest challenge. So if you do not fear God, you will end up misappropriating this money and taking it to be your own. Yet it is just what you're using to do the work that you're doing.
So ego is very dangerous to me, and we should avoid the extremes.
This program exists to equip, challenge, and empower men to expand their family leadership capacity for national transformation.